Good afternoon. I'm pleased to continue our series, The Presidents for the Northern Region of the Republican Party, and we have the President of the Republican Women of Cecil County, J.T. Wilson. And what does J.T. stand for?
It stands for Jutilia. It's a Portuguese name. I am an immigrant. Most people can't pronounce Jutilia, so in high school, my English teacher couldn't pronounce it, and he said, I'm just going to call you JT, and it stuck from then on.
Well, it's a beautiful name, actually. JT, why did you become a member, and what attracted you to the club?
So I've been a military wife for 29 years. My husband retired about 8 years ago. We moved to Maryland. I've always had very conservative views, especially coming to this country as a legal immigrant. When I moved to Elkton, I looked for a club, a Republican club, and at that time I was told that there was not a Republican club in Elkton, that they did have one in Harford County. A couple years later, I think it was about 2 years later, I happened to be at a local bar restaurant and bumped into a woman there, and we started talking, and she asked me if I would like to join the Women's Republican Club. So she invited me to a meeting. They were meeting with the Harford County group, so I went, and from there, our club began. So we actually formed a new club about 6 years ago. So I was part of the forming of the new club, and then last year, I became president.
Oh, congratulations. The thing I wanted to say is I wanted to thank your husband for serving. I have a great respect for the military. And when any soldier serves, so does the family.
Absolutely.
So I'm sure you've been fighting for him all along, and that's part of the Republican. That's part of being a Republican woman. Now, what impassions you to be part of the club and to fight for this country?
Well, there are a lot of things that impassion me, but probably my biggest one is I immigrated to this country in 1972. Immigration back then was very different than it is now. My dad lived here for 2 years before he was able to sponsor my mom, my brother, and myself. I know what it took for our family to be separated. When we came here, my mother had to have a job before we could even come in the country. Nobody does that anymore. We had to make sure that my father made enough money, we had a place to live, and that he could feed us. And that's how we came to this country. You couldn't just come in and go on welfare. And I think that's probably what most of my passions are, is I feel that this country has gotten away from what we came here for. We came here for a better life. And I feel like the current way our country is going, we are being dependent on our country. And all those freedoms that we left our country for are slowly being taken away from us.
So I think it's very, very important to point out that we are not against legal immigration. It's illegal immigration and the problems that it brings to this country.
That is my biggest thing. And not that illegal immigration, I hear a lot of people say, well, these men and women, they come in and they work. Yes, they do. Immigrants are very hard workers. But it's not fair for the illegal immigrants to come in when you have all these other legal immigrants that have come in and have paid the price and done it the right way. And for them to come in and be able to have the services that a lot of them are getting, I think is unfair. As a military wife for 29 years, I'm a big supporter, and so is my family, of our veterans. I feel like we're putting some of these illegal immigrants, and not just them, refugees and things like that, ahead of our military. And if it wasn't for our military fighting for us, we wouldn't have the freedoms that we have. They fight for us every day, and we, in turn, should support them any way that we can. And I feel like we're getting away from supporting what is important and what has helped this country grow.
I think that what you're talking about, the illegal immigrants, that many legal immigrants feel the same way. They had to go through a long process in order to become part of this country. Not to bring their country here and this country become their country, but to be part of the wonderful United States of America. What talents do you think you bring to the club, and what talents can other women bring to the club in order to help us to advance our cause?
Well, I think one of the biggest, probably my biggest, I don't know if it's my biggest talent, but I'm a talker. I like to talk to people. I listen to everybody's opinion. I don't care if we don't agree, but if you have an opinion, I will listen to it. One of the first things I ask anyone when they want to talk politics, did you vote? If they say no, then I don't have to listen to them. If they say yes, and even if we don't agree, I will listen to them all day long. So for me, I think that's probably one of my biggest, is that I listen to people, or at least I try to. I try not to force my opinions down their throat. What we like in our group and why women should, think about joining groups like this is that we do have a say in what's going on. It's the year of the woman. It's time for us not to be seen and not heard. We need to speak. We need to let people know that we have a voice and that we need to make a difference. Our kids are our future, and the way things are going right now, it's not going to be very bright.
We have to come out just like they did with women's suffrage. We can do it. We can pull together in order to help this country. So I'd like to thank you so much for all your work. All the presidents do a tremendous amount of work, and God bless you and God bless your family. Thank you again for serving in our military, and God bless America.